episode of TMF. Today I'm lucky enough to have my Uncle Chris with me, a collector who's been collecting many things over the years, and we are in his cave. He has brought it from an industrial site to this incredible cave, which he calls it today, with all his cars, motorbikes, collectible items, and it is just absolutely amazing. So excited to have this opportunity once again to interview my Uncle Chris in
Great
this
to be here, mate.
amazing cave that you've created. Well, I remember a year ago, this was nothing, and now it's just spectacular. From when I was a young kid, I saw your red Chevy, and then you've always had many collectibles, number plates, and now there's this space that you've just put it all into to make your dream space. You must be pretty happy.
Oh, I'm thrilled about it. It's beautiful. I can't wait to show it to you.
Awesome. Chris, where do you think the passion for collecting came from for you?
Well, I can really trace it back to when I was a little kid. What it is that I collect is old Americana. And even from when I was a little boy, I had this fascination with America, and particularly the part of America that we're going to talk about, which is the southwest of the US, which is amazing, beautiful landscapes. And on top of that, I just loved old cars, particularly American cars. And so I knew from when I was a little kid that I wanted to collect things from a particular part of American history.
Yes.
Mainly the 60s, which was when I was born. So a lot of the stuff that you'll see here comes from the 1960s, but there's some stuff that's even earlier than that.
Wow, that's pretty inspirational that from that young age you knew what your passion was, and you have over the years collected the things that you dreamt of.
I have, and when you collect cars, one of the difficulties is where do you put them?
Yeah.
And normally when you've got a garage, you've got the car that you drive every day in it, and maybe your wife's car. But once the cave came into being, I could actually find some of the cars that I've always been looking for because I had somewhere to put them.
Yeah.
So the cars that we'll talk about today come from an amazing period in American history where American cars were really the most amazing things that you could drive.
Yeah.
And they invoke a particular feeling in you when you drive them that kind of takes you back to a simpler time in history. And I just love the styling, the colours,
Yeah.
the performance, the sound, and I love the way that they make me feel.
Yeah. So you just love everything about the cars?
I do. And each one of them has got their own story, and we'll go through them and talk about each of them, but I just love them. And everything around that time, everything to do with cars, roads, gas stations, as they call them in the US, oil collectibles, everything around the car culture is something that I'm really passionate about.
Chris, I know I feel awesome when I'm on a surfboard. What is the feeling you get when you're in these cars?
Well, that's a really good question. You know, I think it's about freedom. I feel free and I feel exhilarated to be driving these cars. I love to have the wind in my hair. I love to listen to the engine, and I just love to look at them. And It just makes me feel great.
So, Chris, when did you get your first classic car?
Well, my first classic car is the red Chevy. It's a 1966 Chevy Impala, and I got that 20 years ago in 1999. So that would have made me 33.
Wow. I remember because that was the car you used to drive us around when you had the car and we were young. We would always go for trips in that car.
Yeah, that was my first car, and it came off the production line in Detroit a couple of months before I was born. So it and I share a birthday.
Chris, this is the magnificent red Chevy you were talking about just previously.
Yep.
What are your reasons for this car?
Well, I always wanted a convertible. I loved convertibles, and we've got the roof up of this at the moment, but it is a convertible car. I love the red and white colour.
Yes.
And I love it that it was born the same year that I was. It came off the production line just a couple of months before I was born. So it's funny to think that when I was just a little baby, this car was a brand new car.
And now you're still together.
And now we're still together. Every year we share a birthday. And as you'll see, a couple of these other cars come from the same year, because it was a good year in Detroit in 1966. And this Chevy really reflects the era at that time.
Chris, what is this car?
This is a 1970 Chevrolet C10 short bed pickup truck.
This car is like the old school version of our utes today, and this would be awesome to chuck your surfboards in the back and drive around.
That's exactly what the young kids did back in the day. This started really in a time when pickup trucks became leisure vehicles.
Yeah.
Instead of tradesmen's vehicles or farmers' vehicles, they become vehicles to have fun.
And people would use the most of the space in the back for their luxurious activities.
They'd throw their stuff in the back. A lot of these trucks didn't do much hard work.
Yeah.
They hauled surfboards, or they went out and had fun towing a trailer and going camping, that kind of stuff.
Great.
That's why the back of these looks so beautiful. In fact, it's an American oak bed.
And Chris, what is this behind us here?
Well, this is a mural of a highway in Utah. It's called Highway 163. And in the background, you can see Monument Valley, which is a very, very beautiful part of the southwest of the US.
Yeah.
And this is quite a famous road for lots and lots of reasons, but many people know it as the road that Forrest Gump stopped running on.
Ah, I think everyone would love that movie.
Yeah, and in fact, he stopped running right there at mile 13.
And Chris, what do we have up here all around us?
Well, right here we've got antique American license plates. Now, lots of people collect number plates from American states, and I do too, but these ones are particularly special because these ones are all antique plates. In fact, you can see some of these that date back into the 1950s. In fact, if you look up there, you can see one from Arkansas that's from 1955. So these number plates went on cars back in the day.
Chris, what is this car here?
Well, this is another car from 1966. This is a 1966 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham. And this one's unique because it's an unrestored vehicle. This vehicle, when I bought it last year, had 5,000 original miles on it from the factory. Now it's got 6,500 miles on it now, but just imagine a 52-year-old car.
With only that little amount to drive.
So this car is just like you would have seen it come off the production line in 1966.
I've heard the term muscle car before.
Mm.
What is the reasoning behind the name, muscle car?
Well, these were cars that were built to go fast.
Yes.
So they took the biggest engines that they could and they put them into the smallest cars that they could. And for an American car, this is actually a relatively small car. So they put a big 400 cubic inch V8 engine in to a relatively small car, made it as light as possible, and sold it for an affordable price so that young people could buy them and tear up the roads with them.
It's even cooler from the inside in here. Can't imagine how great it would have been driving one of these cars.
Yeah, they were super fun. Now that particular one has got a 4-speed manual transmission with a Hurst shifter. So everyone wanted their muscle cars to have a stick shift, like they called them, because they could go faster than the old automatics.
This is unbelievable. Definitely a collector's item we've got here. Massive fan of Harley Davidson motorbikes. Where have you taken these bikes to?
Well, these bikes, the bike I'm sitting on belongs to me. The bike you're sitting on and the other bike next to me, they belong to my business partners. Now this bike here I've had since new in 1992. It's got 43,000 kilometres on it, and I've driven all over Europe on this.
Yes.
And I've ridden a lot here in Australia, really around Sydney. Haven't been much further past Sydney. But I love this bike, and I don't think I'll ever be selling it.
Chris, it really does feel like we're on a movie set here. Where did you get all the Texaco souvenirs behind us?
Well, I've collected them from lots of different places, and Texaco is an American gasoline brand or oil company, and on Route 66, which is where a lot of these collectibles come from, you used to see these old Texaco gas stations along the way. So when this pump came along, and I found that pump in Victoria, That's a 1930s Art Deco pump
Yeah.
from a manufacturer called Wayne. It needed something to be placed in front of, so I thought, well, we'd better build a Texaco gas station to put the pump in front of and the oil pump that you see over there. So we created this facade of a Texaco gas station. We've got the neon above the little door, we've got the old signs, and we've even got the Texaco letters, which I found in a supermarket and sprayed them red and hung them up there.
Well, that's a great story to tell for years upon years about those letters up there, because they look the exact same as the original. Shell is a very iconic petrol brand, and to this day is global. Chris, where did this iconic Shell pump come from?
Well, this came from Victoria. I found this at an auction, and this is called a Wayne 605 multi-mix petrol pump. And it's called multi-mix because it mixed the regular gasoline with the super gasoline, and you could select the ratio before you put it into your car. And this came from the 1950s.
Wow, that is something that I don't think they have these days.
No, they don't. In fact, I'm fascinated with all Shell stuff.
And it looks like there's some more cool Shell stuff in this cabinet. Do you want to go and check it out?
Yeah, let's have a look at it. There's some really cool Shell Lego here. I love Lego, and I loved Lego when I was a kid. In fact, your mum and I played with that Shell tanker. In fact, we played with it so much that all the paint came off. But I loved it so much that I kept it, and the Shell service station that you see there is actually vintage Lego from the 1960s, complete with the tanker with all the paint on it. Its original box, the instructions, and even the little mini kiosk as well. I just love this old stuff.
Chris, where are all these signs from?
Oh, I've picked them up over the years at swap meets here in Australia and actually in the US. Some of these are Australian signs like the Clearway and the Keep Left and those old New South Wales number plates. But these no parking signs, they came from a swap meet over in California.
Wow, that's awesome that you went to California to go and get those signs. And
I did something even crazier than that. I got that parking meter over there, which we're going to have a look at. I hand carried that parking meter on a plane back from Washington DC.
oh, as a carry-on.
As a carry-on, and they said, "What are you carrying on?" And I said, "Well, it's a parking meter. It's a restored Los Angeles parking meter from the 1960s. I don't want to put it in my check bag."
Behind us here are all these vintage poker machines. Where did you get these from, Chris?
Well, once upon a time, these were used as fundraising poker machines for a charity that I worked for. But then it became illegal to use poker machines to do fundraising. So these sat in an old shed for many, many years until I found them and had them restored. They're from the 1960s. They were made here in Sydney by a company called Nut and Muddle. Now, Nut and Muddle doesn't exist anymore. They really got taken out of the industry by Aristocrat. And Aristocrat still makes poker machines today. And I have one Aristocrat machine, and that's that one down there. But these ones are all mechanical machines,
Yes.
which meant that you put your coin in, you pulled the lever. In fact, we can try it out right now.
Let's do it.
10 cents in there. Give it a crack. Oh well, didn't win anything. But they don't need electricity to run. We can switch them on, but really all the electricity does is turn the lights on. See?
Whoa. That really brings them to life
It sure
with the
does.
lights on.
Yeah. So everything's mechanical inside. They're really quite complicated. They're quite a wonderful piece of engineering actually. And they look beautiful, but they're very, very rare these days.
We're in the kitchen here, and yet again, there's more collectibles, cans everywhere, and these ones, especially here, look very old.
Yeah, well, they're all old. These cans. These ones I collected when I was a kid. I particularly like lemon squash, so I've got every kind of lemon squash can you can think of. And then above me is a whole bunch of old Coke cans, and there's lots of old beer cans, lots of funny themes and pictures on all of these beer cans that I found at a swap meet not that long ago. And on the very top shelf are old soft drink bottles. Most of those companies don't exist anymore because soft drinks really are only supplied by Coke and Pepsi these days and all
Yeah.
the different varieties. But once upon a time back in the day, every little town had their own soft drink factory. And a lot of these bottles are from those factories back in the 60s and 70s.
Chris, who's this Fiona?
Well, look, she's rather nice, isn't she? I don't know who she is or who she was, but clearly this beer company thought that if they put a picture of a lovely lady on the beer can, they might sell more beer. But if we look at that and we see Tennant's Lager, pretty sure Tennant's Lager's not around anymore, so it obviously didn't work for them.
Now we're upstairs in your bar that you built, sitting in a marvellous booth you made. Where was the inspiration for this bar?
Well, this bar models a lot of different things that I've seen in different parts of the US and also here in Australia. So this is supposed to be an old style Western saloon kind of bar. With lots of wood panelling and old pictures on the wall and old maps and a jukebox and a honky-tonk piano and the kind of things that you see in these old bars in the Wild West. That was what I wanted to achieve here.
Chris, let's go and have a look at all your pinball machines.
Yep, let's do that.
Chris, all these marvellous pinball machines here, are they in a certain order?
Yeah, they are. They're in chronological order from the oldest machine, which is CardWhiz, through to the newest machine over there, which is Indiana Jones.
Yes.
The CardWhiz is from 1976. It's a Gottlieb electromechanical two-player machine, and it's a machine that I used to play a lot when I was a kid, putting lots of 20-cent coins into that slot.
And then here we have Captain Fantastic with Elton John on it.
Yeah, this is a very famous machine, again from the mid-1970s. It's the very first machine that ever had a celebrity or a kind of a licensed deal on it, and it's a very popular collectible. Countdown next to it is one of the first electronic machines. This machine belongs to a friend of mine. It's one of the very first that moved away from the electromechanical scoring reels to the new technology of the day, which was electronic displays. Similar for Black Knight, which came out in 1980. This is a multi-level pinball machine. It's one of the very first machines that had 2 levels on it.
Yes.
And it's got a cool feature called MagnaSave. So if the ball goes down the side, you can hit the MagnaSave button and it grabs it and puts it down onto your flipper.
Eight-Ball Deluxe. Here, another pinball machine. Is this one of your favourites?
Yeah, I played this an awful lot when I was a student at university. It was a great game and lots of people loved playing this machine, and it was, until Addams Family came out, the biggest selling machine of all time. So lots of them were made, but very few survive today in that kind of condition.
And next to it we have Centaur.
Yeah, Centaur came out the same year as 8-Ball Deluxe, also by Bally, a very popular machine as well. This belongs to a friend of mine who loved playing it. In fact, we loved playing it when we were kids together, and it's here in the collection as well.
This Bally, this is another Bally pinball machine, the Addams Family.
Yeah, Bally was a big manufacturer of machines, and the Addams Family was the biggest selling machine of all time. More than 20,000 of these got made, and it's still one of the most popular machines today. It's from 1992, and it's an excellent game, and of course everybody loved the movie and the old TV show, The Addams Family, with Morticia and Gomez there in front of the old house. But this machine, along with these other two here, which are also from the early 90s, Twilight Zone is also by Bally, and then Indiana Jones is a Williams machine. Came from 1992 and 1993 respectively, and all three of these machines were hugely popular in their day and remain so today because they're great games, and they were really the last of the Black Knight's talking to us. In fact, Black Knight was the first talking pinball machine, and it still talks to us today. But these three were very, very popular in their day and are still popular today. And they were the last of the commercially made pinball machines. Yes. Really after that, in the mid-90s, pinball machine manufacture tailed off because kids weren't playing pinball anymore.
Yeah.
And really the only manufacturers in business today are building machines for collectors.
Thanks again, Chris, for this amazing opportunity to film in your new cave that you've been building for the past 2 years, and it was an amazing experience for me, as normally TMF is surf based, and today to have gone out of my comfort zone and interviewed someone about the Americana, it was just something that I'll remember forever, and I hope the viewers will have enjoyed it as much as I have, and have gotten you a little gift from my recent trip to Hawaii.
Cool.
That you can add to your collection.
Hey, that's fantastic. Thanks. These Hawaiian plates are pretty rare, you know. I'll be happy to put that up on the wall. It's my pleasure, mate, to show you around the cave. Take care.
Thanks again.